All right, there we go. Loving the weather this weekend. Good morning, people. I kind of see like what they call this after the storm, right, Carina? I get to see the sun for in a long time, and I think that's a very a very nice thing to see after all that has happened. And most definitely, as today, always on a weekend, we are bringing you some great podcast and live stream where we just chill, relax, have fun, but at the same time have a lot of great learning, a lot of great sharing, and of course, enjoying the presence of our viewers and listeners around the world. So, guys, if you haven't actually saw our past episodes, tons of good stuff there. A lot of people benefiting from it. If you don't want to miss out, make sure to go to Go Super VA up here. Now, click that. Hit like, hit subscribe, check the episodes, share to your family, and just enjoy and have a fun time all together as well as growing and learning is one of the best things in life. So enjoy in our channel, see what other good stuff are there. Feel free to comment as well, and just do whatever you want to do. So yes, good morning once again, people. Having your coffee, me having my what they call this salabat, I think. Mr. Jade gave me a while ago because I was like, my throat is kind of feeling off. Suddenly the weather is getting better, but my health is kind of tanking down. So yeah. Good morning, Mr. Jade. How are you doing? How is it over on your side?
Oh, hello. Well, it's rainy week actually to us because of the typhoon, and
Hmm.
this is my first time here in our this is my first time here in our live, and yeah, this is such an experience and pleasure to me to have you guys here, and welcome to our live. Okay, so well, I'm good on my side, and because this is a rainy week and we have typhoon in our country, like um feeling not feeling well is is really common right now. That's why we don't have our two hosts, because they are not feeling well because of the typhoon. But yeah, I'm all good, Jack. Thank you so much for checking on me. And yeah, guys, welcome on our live. And yeah, and Jack, what topic do we have for today? Okay, what
Yeah, so
topic we can?
very good question there.
Yeah, what
Actually, it's
topic do we have?
yeah, it's gonna be about what they call this. Like number one, we would like to express our how to put it, like we are in solidarity with you guys, to all the VAs out there, and of course to everybody too, in the country, in the Philippines, right, that you guys have also had to endure the past days wherein there was like a lot of flooding, tons of what they call this heavy rain, and definitely it was not easy for VAs and non-VAs alike. And at the same time, what they call this, a lot of people has been affected. So whenever you could say, lend a helping hand or so, try to do so. And for the VAs out there, reach out to your companies, to your agencies if you have, right, or maybe to your client, just keep in touch with them. And for the VAs here in Philisong, if you guys need any help at any time, by all means, please do reach out to us. Because yeah, what they call this, the typhoon that has passed by, Carina, right? What they call this was just unexpectedly what they call it strong, and it hit hard, right? Because I was like looking at the what they call this, the weather update the past days. I was like, okay, it's gonna be like fairly rainy, but not really like crazy. But then lo and behold, right, like we saw in the news a number of things at which shocked me. I think Mr. Jade got shocked as well, because like
Yes.
buses were submerged. What they call this, people rather, were like on the top of their homes, right, the roof like that. It pretty much reminded me of like past typhoons, like super typhoons, actually, like Ondoy and those other previous super typhoons that we have had. And not only that, it hit, say, not only the metro, but even say in the far north, and also in the south, like our Visayan brethren, and also the Mindanaoan people. Everybody got pretty much hit hard with Carina, right? But on my side, actually, SUVs were floating. Imagine that. SUVs were floating. I was like, my goodness, this is really something else. And I couldn't help but, like say, give a prayer, like, for everybody to be safe, and hopefully, that everybody in their family would be okay as well. Right. But, for how about for you, Jade, right? How was your experience? Because you are actually in the South, right? You
Yeah.
are somewhere in Laguna like that. And,
Mhm.
how was the flooding there? How was the rain the past days?
Oh, well, actually, I think it didn't stop for about 5 days. So, yeah, for already 5 days, and in my location, actually, in this part of Laguna, fortunately, we don't experience flood so far, for the whole duration of the typhoon. But on other part like Cavite, yeah, they are heavily affected, and there are a lot of areas that experience power outages, and flood, and yeah, and I think on other areas also on the other part of Laguna is really affected, right? But fortunately, on our part, it is not. So yeah, and I think I saw a lot of news recently, like on the part of Metro Manila, right, Jack? It's really
Oh
heavily
yeah.
affected. You saw that the flood is like reach their chest, and it's that
Mhm.
high, and I also, guys, we are in the BA world, and I of course talk to other pillow VAs, and I asked about their experience, like uh they're still working even though there's like a flood outside their house. and and I think that's one thing for like our the nature of our work, right? We can still work while we are experiencing a typhoon, a flood outside our house, and um um yeah. So I think this is a good opportunity to talk about like how are we as BAs now? How are we holding up? So with this typhoon, yeah. How's our experience? Yeah. But
Exactly. I mean, like a big shout out there. That's really one
yeah.
big thing there that you mentioned, Jay. That a big shout out to the VAs there, and big shout out
Mhm.
as well for you guys and your family members that had to wade through the rain. Gosh, that's like no joke, right? Because probably commute is gonna be like total disaster, right? Like fewer
Yeah.
vehicles, and still, the flooding is there, and you had to report to the office, and probably, who knows, like get stuck, for just waiting for the rain to stop. But yeah, it took a number of days. So yeah, guys out there, our heartfelt, yeah, prayers to everybody there, and
Mhm.
hopefully that everybody gets back and be able to recover quickly, bounce back from this, and be able to say, like enjoy life normally once again, right? And what Jade was mentioning just a while ago, our topic for today, or our talk, our this live podcast, the live stream that we are bringing to you guys, is going to be about, say, some recap about that, like, how the weather was the past days, how, especially for VAs, like how we are doing per se. Because as we know, we are in the VA world, and there, one of our viewers, Miss Monique, mentioned like it's totally not good, 3 days of power outage. So we are going to be actually looking at that angle in the VA world, specific VA sesh per se, right? Like how was it for us? that okay, you're working at home, you're working online, but now typhoon comes, right? Bad weather arrives, and you have like a power outage. How about for internet outage? And I always hear actually some famous four letters. I think they call it like PLD and Charlie at the end, right? And they say like these are the challenges, and more so that it was apparent during Carina, Carina's Karina's visit in the Philippines. So yeah, moving forward from there, what they call this, with all the crazy news that we have got to review earlier in the past days. Actually, me and Jade was checking out on these things. Like how is the state of the country, right? And we were saying like. Actually, we're gonna be like what news anchors or something like that. Checking out the news, right? Keeping updated with things. And yeah, we got to share earlier a while ago that yeah, it was crazy flooding. Really, in my area, SUVs were sunken. I mean, like
Mhm.
an SUV is like what roughly maybe 6 feet or 6 feet in height, and probably in other countries, not countries, in other what they call this, in other cities, right? In other places in the Philippines, it could have been easily way worse, right? So yeah, it was no joke, and what they call this, it's definitely a tough thing to experience, but nevertheless, also like what Jade mentioned a while ago, being in the VA world, right? Albeit say imperfect, as there's nothing perfect in the world, we have great perks, and we are going to be talking about later on. We're going to be talking about like some things that we do so that we are able to continuously say work and deliver for our clients, even though like it's bad weather, maybe some power outages happening every now and then, or maybe some internet challenges as well, right? Like how do we do things, how do we say navigate through these things so that we would be somehow smooth sailing still, despite the winds and the waves are quite high. So having that said, actually, would you actually want to share, Jade, like some of the news, other news that you have heard regarding Karina as you were checking out things the past days, and maybe some personal
Mhm.
experiences too, right? I mean, like some all of these internet outages, power outages, right? Some of the things that you have heard. Yeah, could you share to our audience? Some of these things that come across your way, come across your desk earlier.
Oh, yeah. Well, on my experience, well, personally, to be honest, I don't go out that much because we are working from home, right? But I heard like from my fellow VAs, yeah, of course, with my teammates. I heard that their experience power outage. It's pretty common, really, because of this typhoon. And also, like, we have this like I have this pillow team on our marketing department. Like, you know, the flood outside their house is like chest level, and
Oh,
Jack, he's still working. He's not logging
wow!
out, and we're asking,
Shout out!
yeah, yeah, we are asking why there still is electricity, because if it's already chest level,
Mhm.
that they will turn off the electricity grid, right? But
Yeah.
still not, and it's kind of, yeah, it's kind of it's kind of an experience to hear, right?
Mhm.
and and yeah, there's a lot of those. I think it's not just around I think this is pretty common with us, right? We hear our friends, or maybe family members that experiencing this typhoon, yeah, like power outages, or maybe it flooded in their area, right?
Yeah.
And
Actually, for
yeah.
our viewers out there, right? If you guys, like if you could share as well, like what your experiences are, and right off the bat, I get to see here some flying laundry from Mr. Florian Dan, right? If you guys can share, like your experiences, may it be crazy, weird, or whatever, right? Feel free to put it down in the comment section, and we're gonna check this out later on as well. So yeah, pretty much it was all over the place. I think that's one of the things that I could say there. It was all over the place, and it's just like that one good thing that if you are a VA, right, and say you were here in the country during a Karina, is that at least you have the what the perk of like say at least being dry, right? I mean,
Yeah.
you're going to be having other kinds of challenges, but somehow I think it's something that's really awesome and amazing to have, right? Because probably some of the issues that we could have there is like I can't order from Grab Food or from Food because nobody gonna deliver, right? Because streets are flooded, or maybe something like what I call this. Okay, now there are power outages, right? What is my backup, right? What can I use to stay online? Or maybe when it comes to the internet, like it's going out, it's turning off, and I try my backup, and at the same time, my backup is also kind of down. So basically, we're gonna be having all these kind of challenges and funny and weird experiences as well. But nevertheless, I think personally for me, I think being a VA, especially at such times, like crazy weather outside, I'm very thankful that I am a VA because
Yes.
it just it just outweighs like if I were say doing a typical face-to-face kind of job, right? Because at least as a VA, okay, you have your challenges, but I'm still at home. I'm still at the comfort of my home. And now only a question of like, okay, where to get food. Maybe I should do fishing because it's flooded outside. Yeah. And back up is not backing up. So Miss Monique mentioned there in our comment section. Oh yeah. How about you, Jade? What do you think about that? Like, being a VA and those tough times, right? Typhoon and everything, right? How do you
Mhm.
feel about it actually? Being a VA.
Okay. Well, that's interesting. Okay. Because I think I think I heard another story with our fellow VA that she ordered from Grab, right? and
Mm-hmm.
and there's no plant in front of her house anymore. So, and she's wondering why the Grab is still not delivered the food. And the Grab message her, it's flooded on the way on her house.
Mm-hmm.
And it's it's funny because as a BA, we don't really have to go out, but guys, we should be we should at least be aware of what's happening in our area. Okay, stay safe and don't just close your house, your doors, and assume that
Curtains closed too. Yeah.
the curtains closed and assume you're living in on different country you're not, guys. You have to be aware. It's funny because I think it's pretty it's not just as an isolated experience, right? I experience it too. I don't go out much because if we work like in a company, we will commute, right? And
Yeah.
we will see everything. We will experience going on the flood, right? Like the we will sow ourselves on the water.
Yeah. I actually remembered earlier you're telling me something like one of your buddies like got the experience like I'm not sure what the word means but or the term
Mm-hmm.
means that you actually mentioned like you're going outside raining slippery and your buddy like nabal dog or something like that. I don't remember.
Hoy,
Yeah.
guys, check on our friends, but because we're not sure,
So yeah, and
don't,
actually with what you mentioned, Jade, what they call this, it's kind of funny, really, because it's like ironic, right? Supposedly, you're a VA and you're working online. You gotta be updated at least because the news can be easily searched
yeah,
online at the same time. But yeah, these things happen. At which it reminded me actually what they call this that yeah, you have your own world. Like I was saying there, it reminded me that somebody got to order food and basically the rider could not reach their place too because of flooding and what the person did was like just give it to the rider, like okay, now you can have the meal inside, which I thought was like kind of sweet and heartwarming. So yeah, a lot of crazy stories, funny stories that we have, and a lot of interesting ones as well. But yeah, we are gonna consume the time, just talking about experiences that we have heard. But today we are also gonna be delivering, of course, like some things of say great value, for people
Mhm.
out there, for the VAs out there, and maybe for for our viewers here that you are thinking like, oh yeah, there was a typhoon, and I'm watching this podcast right now, and actually I would want to hear like some challenges, maybe, right? Some challenges of being a VA, because I'm thinking of being a VA. I don't have any idea, and now typhoon hits, and I want to prepare at least, right, before I
Mhm.
start going into the VA world. Well, guys, you are in the right place, because yeah, once again, we are going to be discussing about those, and later on, as you what they call this, as you keep on watching, nearing the end, we're going to be sharing, like, say some tips, some tips as to how we can say survive, like moments like that typhoon, like how to
Mhm.
put it, like some survival VA edition. Like, it reminded me of like DLCs for games, but yeah, we're gonna be sharing that at the end too. So may it be that you are a newbie, or maybe you're a seasoned veteran, and you're kind of thinking like, how can I improve, my my setup? How can I improve my backup? So that you can say take care, of the job that you have, and actually, that you get to invest, say wisely, right, with the things that you need actually for times like that. So I think one of the things I'm actually looking here, if you guys notice that I'm looking here on the side, it's because I'm looking at like say, the comments, and what people are mentioning in our various channels, that the video that this podcast is being streamed live. And actually, some of the things that I've got to see here right away, somebody asked like, what could be, the VA advantage and challenges, or rather, what are
Mhm.
the advantages and challenges of being a VA, right? Like especially when it comes to, once again, it comes to typhoons, it comes to tough times like that, versus a typical job per se. So having that said, for you, Jade, what do you find, right? Because I mean, like, being a VA, there are like lots of fields, lots of
Yes.
niches, right? Albeit there's one common denominator, that you can work anywhere from the world, and you can work from, say, the comfort of your home, right? So
Yes.
being a VA on your side, what they call this, what do you think for you personally are the advantages that you get to enjoy on a daily basis?
Oh yeah. Well, like what I mentioned before, it's the commute, right? I think I think that's the biggest one I can say, because we don't have to go out, right? Even though if there's no typhoon, right? It's a big advantage over going out every day, going on field, consuming your time on traffics, right? And during typhoon, yeah, you don't have to sow yourself on the water, right? You don't you don't you don't have to experience that because your boss, their work demanded that you should go on work even though it's typhoon, right? We have that experience on a company setup, right? And
Oh
we can say no, right? Really, even and what we will do is that, well, we will just, yeah, go on the flood, and yeah, even though it's raining heavily, we will still go. We'll still go on work. And being a BA, we don't have to do that, and we still can go to work, right, and earn dollars.
Two birds with one stone.
It's yeah, two birds with one stone. And we don't have to so ourselves, right? It's comfortable inside our house, right? That's why I think
Is that like, oh, sorry to cut you off, Jade, is that like
sure.
I think that's like, quote unquote, a premonition saying like, do VAs not shower all the time? Because,
Jack, I think
I mean, I don't know about you
well,
guys and for our viewers
yeah,
there,
it's
but
the
yeah.
same for me, Jack. I just don't know on with other people here. We have guys. You can share in the comment. Do you guys?
How many times
I, I
do you
think
how
I
many
think
times
I
do you
know
guys
some
shower
people,
in a week?
Jack.
Are you gonna name drop?
I think no. I think no. That's not a good idea.
So yeah,
Yeah.
going back, right? What they call this? I love the first part that you mentioned there, that you do not need to say do commute anymore. At which, right, that's like also one big thing for me, because beyond just the commute is gonna be also, say, being stuck in traffic. And when you're looking when you're looking at it, right, when you really look at it, what is traffic? In reality, it is unpaid time, right? I'm
Mm,
not saying
yes.
like I want every millisecond of my life to be paid, but saying like if for example you're gonna work typical 8 hours, right? And let's say you go home or you get out of work 5 p.m. sharp, right? Every day,
Mm,
5 p.m. sharp. And if you're gonna be, and this is like a typical story, as we know, if you're gonna be stuck in traffic for even just 1 hour, gosh, that's a big thing, right? Because every day you have that
yes.
1 hour just for traveling, and that's one way, right? So now if you're stuck in traffic 2 hours one way, so in your day right away, right, you have 4 hours traveling aside from your 8 hours work. Gosh, that's really big for me. Like being a VA, one of the biggest advantages for me as well, like you, Jade, is that
Mm-hmm.
not needing to commute just to be able to say clock in at work and basically start work, start earning, right? Do what you need to do, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, what they call is the shower thing kind of cut us off. So yeah, please continue with the advantages. Jade.
Yeah. That's it's great that we agree on that one. We both agree on that one because it's really it's really the biggest, I think. And I think let me think with another one advantage. Okay, I think the same, the same that we don't have to go out to get food. Right, we can just deliver food in our in
Oh
our
yeah,
house. Right?
actually deliver
As
or
long
like
as it's not flooded on the way, right, Chuck?
yeah. If you're not so good at cooking, right? You can just deliver every day if you want, or at the same time, what they call this. If you actually love cooking, you just need to stock on groceries. Because
Yeah.
actually, I'm glad that you brought that up, Jade, because
Mm-hmm.
that just made me realize again, connecting to say being stuck in traffic or like commuting, instead of the time that you would spend cooking actually, right now you're gonna be stuck in traffic, and at times if you really love cooking you cannot cook anymore because well it's
Mm-hmm.
gonna take time,
Yeah.
right? And yeah, what you call this. Yeah, I'm seeing lovely comments here. How about you guys? What are your experiences, right? Like if you think about it, you're a VA for quite some time now, or maybe you're
Mm-hmm.
starting out. Like, what do you think are the best advantages that you're enjoying so far? And maybe like a comparison back then when you were like say having a typical job, right? Like what do you think is like the best change that happened when you shifted to the VA world? And I'm seeing like lots of comments passing by here, and I saw one. I didn't pick up who it was, but it was like shower anytime you want, right? Very true, very true. A shower anytime oh, there we go, it's from Miss Will. Shower anytime you want, when you want, what time, whatever you want to do, just shower, guys, just shower every day, okay? And what they call this. Or there was another comment there that pardon me, I'm seeing a lot of funny comments here. And I saw another one there that what they call this, what area is like traffic outside there. And I believe everybody and a lot of say people in the Philippines can testify like pretty much everywhere it's traffic, unless maybe
Mm-hmm.
you are like in some beautiful countryside areas, right? But if you're like in major cities, traffic is always there. Like heck, in the metro, I think sometimes the traffic could be like 3 hours or so. And I was
Yeah.
like, it's crazy. It's like a flight to Singapore one way. I better take a flight
It's really
going there.
true.
But yeah, it's really crazy. So yeah, what they call this, on the second thing that you mentioned, that you can just order anytime you want, or you
Mm-hmm.
can cook, right? You can cook with whatever you want to cook or prepare or do meal prep. Actually, you have the time. Why? Because you're working from home, right? You don't need to really go out, spend time, hours, or who knows. Like if we think about it, like on a weekly basis, you have like maybe 12, 14 hours or more commuting. That's big. Oh, now it's just like blowing my mind thinking about it. That's 2 hours per day, guys. Because if you're traveling like 2 hours per day, commuting 2 hours per day, times 7 days or times 5 days, that's 10 hours. And that's
Yeah.
literally like one waking hour in a day,
Mm-hmm.
right? That's crazy. Yeah. This topic of ours, this conversation is like making me all the more appreciate what we have as
Yeah.
VAs. Right? Thinking about it, my goodness, no wonder it's like quote unquote don't have enough time to do some of the other things, because yeah, commuting is just eating so much time already, you know so what they call this, one big advantage most definitely is like you don't need to commute just to go to work, and at the same
Mm-hmm.
time you can cook what they call this at the comfort of your home, or you can just order if you want. And at the same time, with one of the comments, like what they call this, you can shower pretty much anytime you want, and like other things like that, right? Like quote unquote, whenever you would want to, because you are working from home, right?
Mm-hmm.
So what they call this. Having that said, though, how about like what do you find, if there are any, what they call this, say some maybe disadvantage kind of thing for you?
Oh, I think, well, I think I mentioned before, one
I think
disadvantage, we're
I
not
think
aware of our
some thought came to mind.
for me, for me, I think we're not aware on our surroundings, what's happening. Guys, don't close your curtains. you, you have, I know that we have access on news online, right? But we don't frequently do that, right? So be aware of what's happening outside. Check on others, right? Well,
Yeah.
that's yeah, that's one
Yeah, and actually,
thought sometimes.
to go out, to go out as well, right? Just for say, basic exercise daily, right? Go out,
Mm-hmm.
get some sun, right? Do some stretching, just move around, right? Don't be holed up in your home for like 7 days a week. You need to go out, get some sun out there. But like, okay, there was typhoon the past days, but yeah, make it a norm that you go out still, because it actually helps. Definitely, it helps. You need to go out still, and at the same time, being aware of the surroundings, yeah, definitely, because I think that kind of stems to, like, all kidding aside, right? That kind of stems to, like, when you're working and then after work, right, you're really tired, you tend to just like,
Mm-hmm.
okay, I'm gonna be falling asleep, and after I fall asleep, basically it's nearing the work hours again, so basically it's like clockwork. Now I'm gonna be like preparing per se, for work, so pretty much I do not have much quote unquote info on what is happening around. So yeah, I think that's where it's coming from. If I'm like getting your what I call this, if I'm getting your view, Jade, would that be correct?
Mm-hmm.
Something like that.
Yeah, absolutely. Like,
Yeah. And
um,
actually, one other thing too, I remembered when you were mentioning um, being aware, right? I think I heard something from you before, like not being aware that much about like how much food delivery is spending already in a month. If you could please, share some stories regarding that.
I think, well, why me? Joke. Well, I think I was called out. I was called out on one of our session here in live. Yeah, it's pretty easy. It's pretty easy to just check out and then deliver your food, and you lose track. You easily lose track, right? On your spending because of that. Guys, always be aware. Be aware of your surroundings, be aware of your expenses because we can easily lose track on that, right? And maybe you don't know, you already uh spending like 10k per month only on Grab, right? That's
Is that
that's
is
not
that from
something to,
personal experience, Jade?
not sure, Jack. Not sure. Maybe,
How
maybe
about you
not.
guys, for the VAs out there? If you're usually ordering, right? How, how much is your average spending for ordering food? So be aware of your expenses as well. But I think
Yep.
for you, Jade, is that like a disadvantage or more of an advantage? What do you think? Or kind of mix, maybe?
Maybe mixed feelings.
Happy when you're eating, not so happy when
Happy
seeing
when
the bill, maybe.
when you yeah, that's true, Jack.
Oh
It's really
boy.
mixed.
Oh. Yeah, it's really mixed.
Guys,
I feel you. I feel you. Yeah.
oh,
Oh,
so
here,
it's the same for you, ah.
see, man, maybe one third the price. Okay, one third the price only. And here, what they call this? Oh, we got an awesome comment here from Mr. Sunny. He said, like a big advantage for a family man like me, that being a VA, yeah, and not to mention that sometimes my gout is triggering and I can still manage to work from home. Mr. Sunny, I'm not sure if you were the one that I heard like you had some gout on your neck or something like that. I don't know. Jade was
Why
telling
on
me
neck?
about it earlier. I
It's not
don't
on neck,
know.
Jack. It's not on neck, it's on legs. Got this.
Oh, okay, okay. I mean, like, you're telling me something I must have misheard earlier. So yeah, oh gosh, So yeah, once again, right, for the advantages, definitely in a nutshell, you are working from home. So that means you're dry. You might have gout and you can still work. That's an advantage for sure.
Yeah, for
And
sure.
at the same time, what they call this, you can just enjoy pretty much a lot more things. And I think one of the most what how to put it, like the most heartfelt or like heartwarming things that we get to hear, Jade, right, is like
Mhm.
people that are like Mr. Sunny, that they are family people. You may be a
Yeah.
father, you may be a mother, or maybe you're taking care of your siblings at home. And now, because you are working from home, you don't have to get stuck in traffic, or you don't have to be trapped in bad weather, right? And at the same time, you can enjoy more time with your family. I think that's also one
Mhm.
of the biggest advantages being as a VA, right? Because like, okay, after work, log out, everything like that. Maybe turn off your computer or play some YouTube after, I don't know, right? But right away, right, you are there at home, you are there with your kids, right? You are there with your loved
Mhm.
ones. I don't know, like if you're a wife, maybe you prepare sandwiches like that for your family. Maybe if you're a
Yes.
husband too, right, you prepare for your family. So yeah, you have a lot of time for your loved ones if you are a VA. And I think that's like definitely every parent's prayer, beyond the wish, right? Every parents' prayer that I could spend more time with my kids. And actually, I remember this from a while ago that some people that I got to talk to is that they, guys, you can type in the comment section. You can say like me too. I feel you. You can type in our comment section. Next thing that I'm gonna say that aside from like the traffic, the commute like that, some people actually what they call this also went outside the country, right, just to
Mhm.
provide for their family. And that is something like, say, way more tougher than just being stuck in traffic for a couple of hours in a week. Now you're outside the country and you're trying to earn money, and now you're totally like you are far from your family, right? So it's like really tough too. And for those that got to transition from there, I hear like they are very thankful that they are working in the VA world. Families by their side all the time, don't need to go far. What they call this, and at the same time, actually, many in the VA world are also earning more than than they were earning outside the country. So like these alone, out of a ton of advantages that many other VAs are experiencing, in the VA world, in our community and the other communities as well there, being a VA really is like with a lot of great perks, a lot of great say things that people yearn for. Albeit, yeah, as we know, it's not perfect, right? So it has its challenges, it has its cons. Like maybe
Mhm.
you need to adjust your say your sleep cycle, your sleeping time, right? Because if you are, say, in the eastern part of the world and your client is like like here in our community, like our clients are mostly like big business people in the United States, right? So here you kind of need to adjust. Actually, if you're staying in the Philippines, you need to adjust your sleeping time, that it's gonna be flipped, right? Your evening time is your daytime, and your daytime is kind of like your evening time. So that's like kind of one of the cons there, or better put, one of the challenges there being as a VA. And as well, that if you are gonna be a VA, you also have to invest on, say, your equipment, right? Would you agree, Jade, with that you need to invest on your equipment compared to like if you were working a typical job, right, face to face? Because if you go to a typical job face to face, basically everything's provided for pretty much, right? You have your computer there, you have your desk, right, you have your office and all these things. But if you're going to be working as a VA, you have to provide your setup, your office
Mhm.
setup. You have to provide it. It's very rare that a client would be like providing you stuff initially, right? Maybe along
Mhm.
the course, right? Like what we
Yep.
mentioned here in our community, that being the best relationship builder is the goal, right? That you build relationships, and then the client see like you are an amazing partner for me. If you remember, guys, like you see with Miss Mo, right, when she's inside here, she's like a super VP, right? Super virtual partner, at which there are many people like that in our community as well, that the clients see them, that like these are my partners, and then like, okay, I want to buy them something, right? Maybe a second monitor, maybe a new laptop, right? like that. That happens too, but
Mhm.
it's not like on the initial stages. It's like if you're wondering, like, yeah, what could be some cons, some challenges there, especially for you guys, our viewers there. I know a lot of you are like, what they call this, trying to get into the VA world, first timers like that. You have to invest in your equipment, definitely, especially for different niches, right? What are your thoughts about that, Jade? Investing in your own equipment, being like some initial challenge there, right?
Oh, yeah. Like guys, if you don't know, I'm a video editor, and as we know, our field really demands a high specs on our computer, on our device, and we really need to invest. It's really hard to start on our niche without a proper computer, right? So you have to invest at first, right? And others might say that it's kind of like a disadvantage of being a BA because your client won't provide it. But I don't think it is not that huge, right? Because you will invest on it, you will invest on yourself, and it's all yours, right? You don't have to think that maybe if the company will terminate you, they will take back your things. So what would you do? Right? How would you find how would you find another job on that situation, right? And it's a big thing to invest on ourselves, on our devices, right? It's like investing on our future, so it's not really that big of a disadvantage, right? And like what Jack said, I like what Jack said. Our client, of course, if you stay long with them, if you become a super BP like Miss Monique, your client will give you like will provide the device or whatever you need if if you become the best relationship builder, like what we taught here in our community, right? Be the best relationship builder. So I don't think it's a big disadvantage, right? Because uh, really you're investing in yourself, so what will you lose? Right? So nothing. True. So
Yeah.
mhm. And I love what you said earlier, Jack, about I just want to add on the family, if you are a parent, right? Imagine like what Jack said, if you are going commute 2 hours per day, it's 10 hours per week. Imagine that 10 hours per week if you just spend it with your family, right? You can just spend it with your family. So if you are commuting 2 hours per day, you're losing that 10 hours a week. uh Potentially that you can spend with your family, with your loved ones. And also like in times of typhoons, since we are together, you are together, a whole family in one house, you don't have to think what's happening with them because maybe like what I've said, even though it's typhoon, you still have to work. Maybe the management will force you to go to site, right? In a company in a company setup, right? In a corporate setup, they will force you to go still even though it's typhoon. Imagine that anxiety that you will build up. What's happening to them? They are safe. You don't have to think those things anymore because you're together with them, the same roof in the same house, right? So I think this really I really like the same, Jack, the same with you. The more I talk about this, the more that we discuss this, the more I appreciate how good we are in this industry, in this BA industry, right? So even though there's a lot of like what Jack said, you have to adjust your time, you have to you have to exercise discipline because of course it's really hard to discipline yourself if you are working from home, right? I think it's all worth it because it's still you are developing yourself to be a better person, right? So it's a win-win still for me. So guys, what do you think? Maybe you can comment here. We have our comment here. You can comment here, guys. What do you think? What are your advantage or disadvantage, right, in this industry? What are your experiences?
Yeah, what are your thoughts, right? What
Yeah,
do you
what are
think
your
might be your
thoughts?
challenges? Even if you don't have an experience yet, or maybe you're thinking of
Mm-hmm.
just like starting out, what are your thoughts about it? Feel free to, share in our comment section, and who knows, we might address this, especially on the next, coming episodes, or maybe even later on, right? We can address all your questions, all your thoughts, right? Feel free to share anything that you have in mind and in heart, right? Because as you guys see, we are only touching up on like a few what I call this so far, a few but very very profound and very like how to put it, like an expansive topic, on the advantages and disadvantages, and there's so much to say. And I love what Mr. Jade, how he put things earlier, because yeah, the more we get to talk about is, it's not perfect, but there's like so many things that we can be really grateful for being a VA. And aside all of that, even that you need to buy stuff, right? Your equipment, your setup, you have to
Mm-hmm.
better it. You have to say do it yourself, right? It's still win-win, because
Yeah.
you are doing it for yourself, and basically it's yours, right? And you can use it as you grow more, you learn more in the VA
Mm-hmm.
world, you upskill. Nowadays you can easily, learn courses out there, or like if you're in an agency like ours, right? Like we have constant training every day, we have a special coaching calls, like that you get to upskill yourself. Yeah, your computer, your items that you buy, you will be able to utilize for sure. It's gonna be like a very very good investment, totally a great investment, because one of the best investments I remembered in the world is that you are investing in yourself, right? So
Yeah.
definitely a big WIN there, when you are investing in yourself. And on top of that, I remembered one more thing, right? That you are a VA, you're working from home, lots of great perks there. And if you are also in a position that you are doing what you love, that is like, a
Yeah.
big win, massive win there for sure, with a lot of food delivery on the side. So what they call this? So what they call this? Continuing forward, guys. If you have, if you have comments, you have thoughts, questions, whatsoever, experiences, share in our what they call this, in our comment box there, our comment section. And if you guys haven't clicked the like button yet on our channel, it once again, it's Go Super VA. So hit like, subscribe, and enjoy lots of conversations like this, episodes like this, the past weeks, because we are doing this weekly, guys. It's every what they call this, like pandesal moments, in the Philippines, because it's like around 7 a.m., I think, right? 7 a.m. Philippine time, and like around 6 p.m. Central time. Yeah. So yeah, going back, to what we were talking about, Jade, like I got to see like an amazing comment here, and basically it was mentioning about like what do we think about, like some solutions that we have when it
Mm-hmm.
comes to say, the challenges that a typhoon might bring, right? Going back to Karina, like for
Mm-hmm.
example, backup power in internet solutions, right? And we have also, how about for communications, because everything is done online, right? What do we do with it, right? How do we
Mm-hmm.
take care of ourselves even in moments like that, right? Mentally and physically, of course. So yeah, what do you think about it? How about for you, backup power in internet solutions? How do you personally, set yourself up, in that aspect?
Oh yeah. I as a I think this one is will really hit us hard as a BA, right? Because yeah, we don't have during typhoon we experience power outages, and at the same time we can't go out to change our place to like a cafe like we usually do when we experience power outage. So this is this one I think on the power outage side, I think I heard my pillow bears discussing that we have like a huge power bank, that they can buy. I think that's one thing you can like stock you can like buy it. I don't think it's that expensive, right? And basically you can still work if power is out. You can still work although not for for a long time, but still you can work if you want, right? And also also like what I have here, I have UPS. If whenever that surprise there's a sudden power outage, the your computer is still on. for a short time. So you don't have to lose your files or your progress on your work, and also your computer won't be affected due to sudden power outage. I think that's one thing you have to think about it. What can save you or what can allow you to work during these times, because although it's not that frequent, it still happens, right? So what happens? So like if we suddenly go MIA because we cannot communicate with our client or with our fellow workmates in uh it's really a bad thing, right? So really have to take care of that. And also, when we have power outage, we also have internet issue, right? Because basically you
Oh,
cannot turn on your router if there's a power outage, right? So guys, be ready that you have backup internet data on your phone so you can connect easily with your clients or with your fellow BAs to tell them that you are experiencing this issue, right? So still guys, always stay safe during these times
oh
because
yeah.
of
Above all,
course
yeah.
our safety is the priority, like
Safety
guys.
first, indeed. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And what they call this, I totally agree with what you said there, Jade. Right, like especially for desktop users, right, that you
Mm-hmm.
must have a UPS right ready. So at least it's not gonna be say having power outage all the time, right? But it's like very essential for your device, for your investment, and at the same
Mm-hmm.
time, come power outage, right? You won't have probable issues by the computer shutting down suddenly. And actually, what they call this, like what Jade mentioned there, big power banks, right? Nowadays it's not
Mm-hmm.
so uncommon to see like high capacity power banks, and a lot of these actually are not so expensive. Just I mean, like get from a legit shop, right? Choose some high capacity one, maybe compare it if you would want to. But yeah, these are like very helpful because actually you can plug in your router in the power banks as well, and at the same time you can plug in your laptops too. And actually, I've heard a lot, when I was asking people like, what kind of power bank are you using, capacity and so on, how long does your laptop, your workstation, how long is it, like, on during a power outage?
Mm-hmm.
And they tell me actually, like, the shortest I've heard, if I'm not mistaken, was 5 hours. So I'm
Oh.
like, that's a lifesaver, right? 5 hours, and some I've heard 8 to 12 hours, with
Mm-hmm.
the power bank they have. So, for power outages, guys, one of the best backups you can have is have a good power bank, right? Of
Yeah.
course, you need to check the capacity of it, so that a bigger capacity means like longer lasting power for your devices, right? And at
Mm-hmm.
the same time, if you have like a desktop setup like me and Jade have like a UPS. So basically UPS is a bit more expensive than a power bank, but at the same time, what they call this, if you buy like a really high capacity UPS, it will also extend how long your computer can be on, right? And this reminded me, this is like one golden egg for you guys out there. If you have a UPS, or maybe you have been given a UPS before and you kind of tried it and it's like it's not working. I plug it on, okay, maybe there's some light there, but then I test it out, I try to remove the plug of the UPS from the wall socket just to see if it's gonna kick in, right? And
Mm-hmm.
nothing is happening. Guys, when it's like that, the UPS battery is highly likely, 99%, the UPS battery is just like expired. You
Yeah.
just need to have it replaced. You do not need to throw the entire UPS device. You can have the
Mm-hmm.
battery replaced. So in case that you have something like that and it's not kicking in anymore, it might just be the battery. So have the battery replaced, which is way cheaper of an investment versus the entire device itself. And also I remembered with the internet, right? With the internet outages. Actually, I found an old UPS on my side. What I did was I literally put a UPS on my what they call this, my internet modem. So now power outage comes, right? I know that my modem will not shut off too, right? My
Yeah.
internet. And yeah, definitely above all is safety first, right? Keep
Mm-hmm.
safe on your side. Whatever happens, safety first. But when you need to go right away or something, do not forget to keep in touch with your clients, right? So maybe you're
Yeah.
talking with your clients, like maybe typically, for example, you guys are used with a WhatsApp setup, right? and now you cannot access WhatsApp for whatever reason, try other stuff, right? Like maybe email, right? If not, not only try something else, try everything, right? Try email, try your messengers, wherever it may be, Slack, Asana, I don't know, Microsoft Teams, like Facebook Messenger, maybe try everything. Because I mean, like, that's the thing with the VA world, right? Our clients do not see us sitting per se, and what they call this, if there is something happening and we don't mention to them, well, they wouldn't know, right? Because people do not know what they don't know. So when it comes to communications, strive to actually message them in all probable, facets of messaging, of reaching out to them, and more often than not they will be perfectly fine with it, because like what, typhoon, right? You know what to do,
Mhm.
right? But the important thing for them, especially for clients in the VA world, is that you get in touch. Because the only what they call this, the only challenge at times is like, I don't know where my VA is, right? Are they MIA or something like that, right? Because they didn't message me. So yeah, when it comes to communications, even on those times, just use your phone. Nowadays, pretty much every phone can connect to the internet easily, right? So try to message them, send them an email, send them some chat in the group chat. So yeah, go for it. So yeah, I think for client communication strategies, we kind of covered it out too, right? Like,
Yeah.
know all the best communication channels of your client, and then go for it. Keep in touch with them. Yeah. And having that said, I think, we can have like a one final thing here,
Mhm.
above all, to encompass everything, is that as a VA, even if you're working from home, you must still have this skill. What are your guys' guesses? Try to guess. You must have this innate skill, right? As a VA, even if you are working from home, right? So, okay, I'm looking here now at the comment section. I'm seeing like a lot of people here mentioning, different stuff. Okay, I'm gonna give like 10 seconds. Let's see, if somebody's able to hit the bullseye. Okay, some are very close. Okay, 10 seconds are up. But yeah, keep on guessing, people. Keep on sharing your comments there. But the answer actually is, a VA must be very resourceful. Would you agree,
Mhm.
Jade?
Yes, absolutely. I agree, Jack. Sa BA, really, we really have to be resourceful in every aspect. Even even when searching on the internet, right? We have to be resourceful on getting what we need, because the internet is huge, right? It's hard to it's hard to just browse, search easily. Uh, we have to know where to get those things that we needed, right? And it's the same, Jack, I remembered that they have in our community, they have a workaround during power outages. What they do, Jack, they connected their undercar, their electricity undercar.
Oh
So they
yeah,
use
yeah,
their car as a source of electricity. So I think that's one, 'di ba? That's resourcefulness for us,
yep,
right? As long as
yeah,
we can work, right? Power
definitely.
outages
Yeah.
doesn't matter. Yeah.
Because since you are working from home, it kind of helps you actually, or say, gives you, how to put it, quote unquote, plus skill points, when it comes to
Mhm.
the aspect of resourcefulness. Because
Yeah.
yeah, pretty much you got to be aware of your surroundings, have that, situational awareness per se,
Mhm.
and at the same time, not only on your side, but say on your client's side, right? Once again, right, what are my clients communication norms? How can I reach them? Do I know their email? Do I know their WhatsApp number, or maybe Microsoft Teams, right? What are these contact channels, right? So when something comes up, I'm able to reach out to them. Now, if I'm going to be like having a power outages, internet outages, do I have a power bank? Do I have a UPS at the very least, right? Like,
Mhm.
how about for my devices here? Are my, this is, I just remembered one thing. Are my browser accounts actually synced, right? So if I need
Mhm.
to suddenly transfer to a different device, I can just easily log in there in the browser, and then now all my tabs, all my notes, everything is just gonna be synced, right? So as a VA, seemingly, just at home all the time, you gotta be resourceful. You gotta be truly resourceful, because everything pretty much is just in front of you on your screen. If you have like a screen or two, or more than two screens, right? Everything is basically online, at which you can, which is a big advantage as well,
Mm.
that you can transfer wherever you want to, but you have to set it up, you have to prepare it, of course, right? So being a
Yeah.
VA, lots of advantages and some challenges only, and every challenge is an opportunity to grow and to learn and to improve, upskill, invest in ourselves, and at the same time, a lot of what they call this, a lot of great opportunity to practice being resourceful to, at which will serve us as well later on. So, Mr. Jade, having everything said and done today, like I'm just really glad that Karina is quite done already with
Mhm.
with the Philippine trip, for for itself. So yeah, I'm just glad it's all good now. And once again, people keep safe, keep healthy, don't
Mhm.
get sick, pray every day, and by all means, right, in your agencies, reach out, to your support teams there, reach out to your peers there, don't isolate yourself, always here in our community we say, like, you're not a number on the side, right? And
Mhm.
everybody here in the community is helping each other from the top to the bottom. And yeah, we are rooting for you. At any time that you guys would want, say, to check us out, please go to Go Super VA, or go to our what they call this, social media pages as well, right? You see the details there, right? If you want to give our office a visit online, if you're thinking about, like, I want to see, like, the career fair, actually, in Phyllis
Mhm.
song, we're gonna be having that there too, posted in our social media sites. So just remember, Go Super VA is the keyword, or is the social media handle. So, having that said, a lovely weekend once again to everybody. And thanks for tuning in and making this like one lovely podcast with a lot of laughter. And as Filipinos, we are very resilient. So, onwards we go always. So, yes, Mr. Jade, see you later on. And everybody, thank you very much. See you when we see you on the next episode next week. Bye.
Bye. Bye, guys. Thank you so much.